Hello and welcome to the very first trailer for the YFP Real Estate Investing Podcast. I am Nate Hedrick, your host and the Real Estate RPh. I'm here with my co-host, David Bright. David, how are you today, sir?
Good, thanks. How you doing, man?
I'm excellent. I am very, very excited for the launch of this podcast. We are eagerly anticipating that very, very soon. And so we thought we'd take a second to chat a bit and share kind of our vision for what this podcast is going to be as a sort of teaser for what's to come.
Yeah, the fun part about recording this where we have is we've already taped a couple episodes in anticipation of launch here. So as far as where this is going, I'm just really excited that our first few guests especially, and we intend to continue on this trajectory, is education and inspiration about real estate investing. That we've had guests that demonstrate that this can be done as pharmacists from an inspiration kind of standpoint, but they also have some great teachable nuggets in there from an education standpoint. So just talking about real estate investing as a way to diversify someone's financial plan.
Yeah, exactly. And I think again, the purpose of this trailer is really to kind of set the stage for what you're going to be listening to as this podcast evolves. And I want to take a second, and I know it's cheesy, but I want to take a second and actually read this chunk of our mission statement, because I think it really kind of exemplifies what we're here to talk about. And so I promise this will be the only time we read the mission statement on the air, but here we go. So we empower pharmacists to achieve financial freedom through real estate investing. We do this by educating, inspiring, and connecting pharmacists to help them achieve their goals. That's it, right? It's simple, but it's really powerful, right? We're really focused on that idea of how do we leverage real estate investing? And more importantly, how do we take this podcast to educate you out there, inspire all of you, and then connect you with some of the other great pharmacists around the country and around the world that are already doing this.
Yeah, there's way too many pharmacists out there that hear the word money and get stressed. And we just hope it's not that way. We hope that this can be one more way that your financial pharmacist can turn that feeling of stress into a feeling of freedom.
And don't mistake the idea of real estate with get rich quick. I think a lot of people hear, we're here to talk about real estate investing. That's basically a scheme. David and I are approaching this as boring, very conservative pharmacists, right? We're looking for safe ways to diversify our financial plan, and that's really what we're going to be focusing on.
Yeah, and kind of in thinking that all through, there's probably a few things that are going to make this podcast hopefully different than a lot of other things out there. So we wanted to start off with some ground rules of how we're going to approach this podcast and how we're going to approach this version of inspiration and education here with YFP. And so the first ground rule we want to talk about today is that we are pharmacists that love being pharmacists. There's a lot of stuff out there that teaches you like how to leave your day job in real estate and things like that. That's not what we're going for. We really love what we do. We love our profession. And so we're not here to tell anyone to leave your pharmacy job. There's probably good books and podcasts elsewhere if that's your goal. But if you're here, we're here to help you figure out how to make sure that real estate can be a part of your financial plan without getting in the way of a pharmacy career.
Love it. It's spot on. And I think it leads us right to ground rule number 2, which is that we're not here to show you guys how to really leave pharmacy to take on all of this extra work, right? There are much more profitable ways to invest in real estate using things like your sweat equity, using different time. But really, we're approaching this from the idea that you're a busy pharmacist. You intend to stay a busy pharmacist. So how do we leverage that idea of building, systems and working with professionals to really set ourselves up for success here, right? I don't want anybody dealing with tenants and toilets, as people like to bring up for quite frequently.
Yeah, and the third ground rule that we wanted to touch on briefly is that between the two of us, we're experienced with some buying and selling and rehabbing and rentals and flipping and some of those kind of things. Neither of us are the most handy person. Like you're not going to see us installing our own kitchen or anything on the weekends. We do this while being pharmacists. And so we're going to generally stick to those topics that we know more about, that we do personally, and that we think are more achievable for most pharmacists. I'm sure that there's other resources out there if you want to learn how to do major syndications or buy 1,000-unit apartment complexes and things like that. Again, that's not what we're going to do here because that's not what most pharmacists do as an addition to their day job, as their addition to their pharmacy career. Then with all those ground rules out of the way, let's do some brief introductions here. So Nate, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who haven't heard me on the other YFP podcasts, I've been on quite a few in the past. I've been lucky enough to join Tim and Tim quite a few times. But I am a full-time pharmacist by day. I am a dad and husband by most night and weekend. And then I am a full-time real estate agent, investor, blogger by late night and early morning. So I got my my real estate license in 2017 and immediately started working with pharmacists and realized that I had a really great niche in that pharmacy community and wanted to find a way to expand that and really bring it to more pharmacists. And so I started Real Estate RPh back in 2017 as an educational platform for real estate investing advice and just general real estate information. And it's really grown from there. I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of pharmacists here locally where I'm from in Cleveland, Ohio. But we've also expanded our services and our education model around the country. We've helped dozens of pharmacists achieve their dream of either starting in real estate investing or buying their very first home or finding their dream home. It's been a really fun journey for me. And so, throughout that whole time, I've been a pharmacist. I graduated from Ohio Northern back in 2013. I did a residency. I was full clinical track for a long time. I was actually a consultant in the pain and hospice space for a while, and have maintained, a really strong passion for pharmacy throughout. This is just one more thing that I've been looking to do to connect that world of real estate that I'm passionate about with the world of pharmacy that I'm really ingrained in. So really excited to be launching this podcast and just excited to see what we can deliver. So David, again, that's enough about me. What about yourself? Can you give everybody a little bit of background on why you're here with me today?
Yeah, so I'm a pharmacist and educator. I'm the guy who was a pharmacy technician in the drugstore when I was 16. And so I've just kind of grown up in that space. And I love that community pharmacy, patient interaction space. I love that opportunity for teaching patients and helping them learn about their medications, which is kind of where I then rolled into academia, because teaching students is a lot like teaching patients. And that became a lot of fun. I also fell in love with research and work around implementing and improving services, which that implementing and improving pharmacy services kind of parallels my hobbies of building and fixing things. So that's gone from a real estate opportunity in terms of a live-in, fix and flip, which I talked a lot more on a YFP podcast 167. So a lot more of my story is there as far as how that's done. But essentially, over the last 10 years, my wife and I have had a couple of those hobby houses that we've lived in, and we've lived in that construction zone. We're kind of happy that we're not really living in a construction zone right now. That's good for a season. But right now, we enjoy fixing up other properties as a hobby. That being said, though, I think that my inner pharmacist, that really methodical and intentional personality type that a lot of us have, has taken that hobby to more of a business as we try to just be really serious and intentional about what we do in real estate also is within that whole approach of looking to diversify our financial picture.
That's great. Well, David, it's really fun to be side by side on this one. I think we're going to be able to bring, different backgrounds to the table. And I think that will really help with the interviews and bringing out the best of our guests. So we are going to be digging into, more general introductions like this over the next couple of months. We're going to be doing a lot of big picture kind of real estate ideas. Again, really focusing on that inspiration of how do you get started in real estate investing. Maybe you've got your first deal under your belt. So how do you go for round 2 or round 3? Those are the kind of things that we really want to start with. And then from there, we'll probably dive into more advanced topics, right? So as the podcast expands, we'd love to hear from you guys, our audience, about what you like, what you don't, what you want to hear more about. And as always, if you have experience and want to share your story, we'd love to have you on the show as well. So this is really a podcast by pharmacists for pharmacists with pharmacists. So we'd love to have you guys along for the ride.
I think that really speaks to the diversity in real estate also. Just like the profession of pharmacy has so many different things you can do with your pharmacy degree and credentials, there's so much that can be done within the world of pharmacy. So if owning rental properties or flipping houses or something sounds exciting or sounds super scary and not exciting at all, there's different pharmacists that can speak to all of that. And so we're hoping to have a wide variety of pharmacists speak to that variety of opportunity out there, particularly as we get started, to help all of the YFP community see, is this something for me? And if so, where does this fit into my financial picture?
And you mentioned something really important there, David, about it being scary to some people. And our job is not to downplay the risk, right? Our job is to bring out that risk and to really show you how to modify that risk or temper that risk in a way that is that works with your financial plan. So our job is not to overshadow it. I hope, and I think we're going to be sharing some stories of times where things just didn't work out for somebody and how they reacted to that, right? Not everything is sunshine and rainbows in real estate. And we want to make sure that's evident. So we'll talk a lot about those different things. And I think the important thing to bring out here too is that we are an educational podcast, right? We are not here to give you the financial plan for the rest of your life because everybody's track is different. We don't know what's going on with your own individual finances. So really the purpose of this podcast is that education and inspiration piece. It's not to offer financial advice or concrete opinions.
Yeah, but as a part of that inspiration and education, one of the things that I really like that has kind of happened naturally in the first few episodes that we've taped, and we definitely want to continue this on, is we've built in these loading dose and final infusion questions. So pardon all the pharmacy puns that we'll probably have throughout, but as far as the loading dose questions, like starting off with what's your pharmacy career like and what does real estate look like to you? And then final infusion questions with these hopefully really tangible and practical next steps that listeners can take if they want to do something along the lines of what that guest is doing that week. So again, even though we want to balance out that risk side with also the inspiration that this is achievable, other pharmacists have done this and other pharmacists have been successful in doing this.
Excellent. Well, I really am looking forward to episode 1. That will be, next along the ride. So please join us for that episode 1. We're actually going to meet with Tim and Tim of YFP so we can get an idea for how real estate fits into the financial plan, right? We thought that the perfect transition from the mainline podcast over to this real estate investing podcast would be to bring on the original Tims that got it all started. And so we're really looking forward to that interview. And again, we're just looking forward to having you all along for the ride. So again, continue to join us. We hope to see you out there. We have the YFP Real Estate Investing Facebook page as well that you can join. We encourage you to do that. We'll put all this in the show notes so that you can make sure to follow us there. And again, we're just really looking forward to this. So from both of us at the YFP Real Estate Investing Podcast, this is Nate Hedrick, the Real Estate RPh, and signing off. We'll see you soon.